Hey, this is Yuri Lowenthal. I play Peter Parker in Spider-Man and PS4 Spider-Man. And when I'm not swinging around the city, saving it from crime, I'm listening to the Raw Dogs podcast. They talk about video games and beer, two things that I like very much. So, check them out.
He's entertaining to watch, at least.
Do you think we're living in an emulation, Tom?
Living in an emulated world.
Emulated. Oh.
Gosh.
I remember my first time opening a beer that wasn't properly carbonated and kind of warm.
Oh, no, Dylan. This was flagged.
I've also got my Kona Gold.
Ooh. Oh. Kona, of course, the big island of Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. It's a hemp energy drink.
Oh, no.
It's an oxymoron.
I mean, it's hemp. It's not actual weed.
Dude,
it's not even CBD.
You're going to be up all night chilling out.
Whoa! Guys, I'm wired. Oh.
Yeah.
You've been just passing me O'Douls the entire night. I'm like, guys, I'm so drunk.
Do you know why today is a great day?
Why?
Because Tom is here at the Raw Dog studio.
Hi! Yay. Oh, my God. Am I?
Yes, you are.
Tom, we
you
love
said
it when
you
you're here.
didn't say you were going to podcast tonight. You just set me in front of a microphone
and tied you up and put a microphone there.
Oh my God!
We were going to bring out the karaoke TV, and then
you will sing karaoke with me and Dylan tonight.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Hi guys.
How's it
going,
Tom?
What's up, man?
It's us.
It's the Raw Dogs.
The Three Stooges of video game podcasting.
Totally. This is going to be a good one.
I'm definitely Curly. You're Mo, man.
Okay, I don't have strong feelings on any of the Three Stooges.
I'll be Larry, as long as it's like the original lineup.
The original, yeah.
I'd even take a Shemp over like a Curly Joe Besser.
I'm Spanky, though,
like
for the Little Rascals.
Okay.
I'll be Spanky.
I'm the dog.
I'm Alfalfa.
Okay.
Getting stabbed, dying.
Yeah.
I'm Reba McEntire.
From Tremors?
Yeah.
All right.
I thought that racer was going to be here. Well, I am here, and I'm a woman. Reba McEntire. Oh, my gosh.
Best sitcom on television.
So this is Raw Dogs. This is episode number 48. I am one of your hosts. I am Brad, and I have used an emulator before. This will be a support group.
Is this admissible in court?
No, this is actually this is all part of a performance we're doing in regards to emulation. We are all playing characters. I will be playing Bread, but these are not true stories. These are anecdotes that could be misrepresented as true in court.
Sounds great.
Yes, but I might have played emulators before. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm famous actor Jamie Dornan. Just so we're clear, Jamie Dornan likes to use emulators.
Okay. And me being Steven Dorff.
Okay.
Loves emulators.
That's perfect.
Also, did you check out that third season of True Detective? That was me.
And I'm Billy Zane.
Where's the Dorfasons?
Yes, we are here today to discuss.
Tell me what the set of The Phantom was like.
A lot of spandex.
Okay.
I was in a very bad mood. It was riding up my hoo-ha.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I didn't even know you had a hoo-ha.
It's the brown one, my brown hoo-ha.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yes, I was going insane, as they say.
He treated Rose like such shit.
It was a performance I was doing. I was emulating a character.
Nice hairpiece.
Yeah, your hair plugs look pretty good now.
Thank you. Yes, special thanks to our Patreon executive producers, Brian, Ryan, Kip, and Tyler. No funny names today.
No.
Y'all are great, and we appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
I do.
And this was a suggestion from Kip. He had previously asked us to do a retrospective, a console study on the PS Vita. None of us have a Vita, and they're kind of hard to get a hold of.
I owned one. I could talk about it.
But you don't have one anymore. I don't know. I would feel bad talking about a console I've never actually held before.
You've never actually held one?
I don't think so.
That's surprising.
I don't think I have either. So,
But there are ways you could potentially try some Vita games without holding the console.
Oh, gosh.
And Kip suggested we talk about the history of emulation, video game emulation in particular.
all right. Well, we know what Kip was doing on his Vita. If that was his second topic, there's PSP. Oh, yeah. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Brad. Go ahead.
Video game emulators. Hot topic, a controversial topic, a misunderstood idea, I believe, as well. I think it's been wrongfully vilified in many ways. But
I think a tide is turning now, where emulation is being deemed acceptable in many circumstances.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will talk about that. But yeah, boy, it had a stigma, like a big stigma back in the day.
It was the Wild West, back in the 90s. People were getting the internet. Metallica was very upset.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Lars hated it.
I think I'm going to pay to listen to Enter
NESticle, I hate you. All right.
Love NESticle so much. NESticle was my first time actually playing an emulator because how does this come about? You find somewhere on the space on the internet, you read somewhere, you can actually play games on your computer. And you're like, wait a second, I can play Nintendo games. Before, at least to me as a kid, you needed physical copies of things. It would be impossible to play otherwise.
Right.
And what are you going to do? $60, $70 for like the new Donkey Kong Country game on the Super Nintendo.
Right.
Can't afford that. Maybe go to Blockbuster or your local video store, rent a game. That's tough as well.
Yeah.
I understand they need to make their money, but as a kid, just to all of a sudden realize it might be possible to have like all the Nintendo games I want at my fingertips really blew my mind.
I mean, yeah, as long as you own the original game, or if you didn't, as long as you deleted the ROM within 24 hours.
Is that what it was? You had 24 hours?
That was the MAME stipulation when I first played MAME, and it still might
So it's the
be a
honor
splash
system?
screen on MAME.
So it was the honor system?
Yeah, the wink honor
Oh,
system.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just getting ahead of some of the legal stuff here. It is legal to download emulators. The actual emulators, they are legal as long as they have been not just like grabbed the info off the internet of like the intellectual property. If they were created using reverse engineering, clean room design, then it's fine. Downloading emulators is completely legal. It's been proven in court.
Yeah.
It's fine. It is the ROMs where it becomes an issue. And there's a misunderstood aspect to that where people say, if I own the game, I can download the ROM. No. Nope, that is piracy. You are a pirate. Technically, the only legal way to have a ROM is to dump your own thing, like your own ROM. And those systems are not easy to find. They're expensive. And sounds fucking tedious.
Yeah, it depends on what you're dumping. You know what I mean? But though they've become a little more accessible and available, depending on if you're just dumping like SNES cartridges or Genesis ROMs or whatever. But
that's tricky because that media is different. Other than like the age of PlayStation 1 and forward, things on discs. Okay, that's going to be a little more approachable. ISOs are a little different than ROMs.
Yeah.
But yes, an emulator is essentially a computer program that lets you run software from another computer. People often think of emulators on like their PC or their Mac, but it can also be, you can get your PlayStation 1 Classic and you can, some backdoor stuff, have it run other emulators on there.
Yeah.
true, yeah.
And I know Modern Vintage Gamer just put out an amazing video about the Xbox Series S. He's like, it's the best emulation machine you'll ever have, and it's super easy to use, and it can play like PS3 games on it and stuff, which is bonkers to me.
Yeah, I have heard that. Never tried it though.
Never
And
would.
I'm being honest, I have not tried that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I considered it, but I'm like, do I want to risk any of my systems, because if I was a professional, I would know what I'm doing. I am not.
No. I don't think any of us here can really claim that either.
So theoretically, if I were to take my NES Mini, which is just a little piece of hardware,
Sure.
and this has an emulator. This is not a Nintendo. This is an emulator that runs ROMs. And if I were to want to put more games on this, I have a Mac. So I actually would have to have my Mac run a PC emulator in order to even hook it up and have it understand anything. So
I mean, if I had a Mac, I'd just be running a PC emulator all the time.
but yeah,
Just kidding.
you can get
No,
that. Yeah, you can get emulators for different computers on there. I know people always want to get Linux emulators running on everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. DOSBox to play your old school fucking PC games that are no longer playable on modern computers, basically.
Which is so surprising, though. Like, you would think that they could take into account, like, the data from those discs, like, especially the stuff that, like...
Yeah, it's so... Some of those games, though, like old MS-DOS games, like Windows 3.1, were CPU bound. So they were basically coded to just run at the however fast your processor was, you know. And since this was like 30 years ago, now if you play these games or try to play them, they're unplayable because, you know, the processor speeds are just fucking, you know, just astronomically improved, where, you know, if you're just trying to play like Breakout or something, like, you know, the things just go back and forth at the speed of light because, you know, the process is so fast. So it kind of like, I don't know. That's one reason you would use DOSBox, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I digress. God damn it.
Do you, though?
Digressions.
Let's get back to the history, Brad. What do you got?
Digressions are great.
Yes. Yes.
Some early emulation, most of it would like contain defects because they were only partially emulating a system. The NES was the first, we have to do emulation. This is what we want. And like the early 90s are when people really started pushing for this to start happening. But
I think my first experience with seeing what an emulator could do on a PC is like, as a little kid. Obviously, I wasn't like rich, and my mom didn't want to buy me video games all the time, but I remember going to a relative's house, and he just opened up a file on his computer, and he's just like, "Oh, do you want to play like Mario or something?" I'm like, wait, what do you fucking mean? He's like, "Oh, it's right here." I'm like, "Oh, no fucking way." I was like, "Oh, and what's this one? Can I play this one? What the fuck is even this one?"
And then there's one that's like Mario 7. Which one's is this? And it's
Right.
the worst ROM hack of something you've ever seen, like Sonic in a Nintendo game.
Yeah. I know for me, I think I told this story on the Dogcast before, but I searched for emulation or was curious just out of the blue, was like scouring Usenet groups back in the day. This was like 96 or 97 or something. And it just so happened that day that I was wondering, like, I wonder if you could play arcade games on the computer, was the day I learned about MAME, and was also, to my knowledge, either the day before or that day was the first release of MAME that came out. So it was just kind of like serendipity. And I was like, I'm at my college like computer room, you know, and I'm just like, this can't be something real, right? I can't play this arcade game, you know.
You hovered the mouse over download Neo Geo Game 7.
Well, this is before Neo Geo was actually emulatable in MAME, I believe. That was still on the horizon. So this was like pre-alpha, or maybe it was beta.
No Metal Slug for Tom.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even released 1.0. It was like MAME 0.0 whatever, like the first one. And yeah, I'm like, I downloaded this game called Knights of the Round by Capcom. It's like a Golden Axe clone, basically. And
that one is really good.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Not
as good as Golden Axe, but it's good.
So they actually have what's called the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle.
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Switch. That one's on there. It's really fucking good. I've played through it several times with people.
Yeah, got your Arthurian legend, you know, if you like your brawlers and shit. Anyways, booted that up, and I was gobsmacked. I'm like, this is the actual fucking arcade game for free. I'm playing it on my computer. My world is just, fucking opened up. My life will never be the same.
Possibilities.
And no one was policing ROMs at the time because I was brand new. And, you could just, it was fantastic. It was like a kid in a fucking candy going on a shopping spree.
Yeah.
And not paying anything.
The Wild West, man. Find that one torrent that had like all the games on there.
Yep.
And could finally play as much Addams Family as I wanted to.
True.
Yeah. I was in 5th grade, and I was the one spearheading the movement in my house. I don't remember my brother helping, but I remember going to my computer teacher at St. Lawrence Catholic School and saying, how do you run an emulator on these things? And she's like, what's an emulator? What do you mean? And I kind of asked her a few questions. I'm like, well, what if I wanted to run this?
God's my computer.
Emulator.
No,
that Warren G.
To her credit, she helped me out, and I was able to get it working because of her.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yep.
She helped you break the law.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Back then, don't even know if you're breaking the law. But
so innocent.
Yeah, that was 1997. You mentioned MAME, which is the multi-arcade machine emulator. 97 was when that had its first official big release.
Okay.
And that was also when NESticle dropped. And NESticle was integral in spreading the emulation scene. It was a widespread emulator, user-friendly, highly compatible. It was the first emulator that allowed save states. It had low system requirements, so it could be ran on some garbage. Game Genie codes, video capture, and instead of capturing the entire video, it just captured inputs and could just run the game back. So you'd be able. Very, very interesting. And it was created by, what was the name of the group? It was they also made horror video games. So the mouse is a severed hand that is bleeding, like the thing you click with. I remember that.
Okay. I do remember that as well. Yeah, that was one of the first console emulators I think I used. But, yeah.
Yeah. 97 was big because of the NESticle and MAME. Next, kind of some important things that have happened legal-wise. 1992... Sega v. Accolade. This doesn't seem like it's important at first, but in a roundabout way it gets there. Sega would require third-party developers to pay between $10 and $15 per cartridge on top of manufacturing costs. So it almost doubles the cost of goods to the independent publisher. Accolade decompiled the executable code of 3 Genesis games and used it to program their own cartridges to allow them to disable the security lockouts. In doing so, Accolade had also copied Sega's copyrighted game code multiple times. So Sega incorporated a new trademark security system that would check for the presence of a string that said Sega at a particular point in the memory. It would then run the game and display produced by or under license from Sega Enterprises Ltd.
Yes.
Yeah. October 31st, 1991, Sega files a lawsuit on trademark infringement and unfair competition. Accolade lost and had to recall all of their games. However, August 28th, 1992, the decision was reversed, and it was decided Accolade's decompilation of Sega software constituted fair use. They had bought the product, and they were just using the product. So the costs of the appeal were given to Sega. The impact here, though, is this case redefined how reverse engineering with unlicensed products is seen in legal issues involving copyright. Very important going forward. I can't believe Accolade won. Generally, though, in court cases, emulation seems to do pretty well.
Yeah. I do remember that. And who else? I think Atari and Nintendo had a bit of a kerfuffle,
Bit of a row, as they say.
But yeah, I do the whole clean room.
Clean room design. I like that.
Yeah, just deconstructing things. Like you're allowed to kind of to do that. I mean, and use that as a way to publish games, I guess. So
yeah, that's why when Nintendo had their Giga Leak not long ago, people that were working on Dolphin and other emulators, they said, fuck no, back away.
Right.
Don't show us any of this because it can get us in trouble if we see anything and use it.
Right.
Anything in their emulator involves has just the tiniest string of that code. Nintendo can just do the fucking hammer.
That is a strange...
Which they'll try to do anyways, but...
They only use a hammer. That is a strange aspect of law, like coding law. Being able to go into a code and find copyrighted aspects of the code. I guess I don't know how much strings or integers you'd need before it's like, all right, we got you, bitch.
Well, doesn't this really just bring up the most interesting part of the question is how much of this shit can you actually claim to own?
Yeah.
If it's so reproducible, if it's for us as like human beings, you buy a shovel and then you can make your own shovel after buying a shovel. It does the same fucking thing. It digs a hole.
Right, yeah.
But when it comes to something like this, it's just like, oh, we give you a cartridge and it has this nebulous kind of fake thing on it, which is still art, but it's also like you can't really define it as an object in space. So what could you possibly own about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes to music as well. It's always interesting. How many notes is it before? You might know that, like before you're stealing someone's music. The itty bitty ting, the Vanilla Ice argument.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think he pretty much argued his case successfully with the yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah. If you watch VH1 Behind the Music like 20 years ago, you know what I'm saying.
I actually do recall this. Yes.
Probably longer than that. Yeah, I do. I don't know a lot about copyright law as far as like music is concerned, like what constitutes this. All I know is you can play less than 20 seconds of it on YouTube before you get a strike. So
is it 20 seconds?
Yeah,
I've gotten it for less, those bastards.
Yeah,
I guess Mickey Mouse's copyright from Steamboat Willie is going to expire soon. It was supposed to expire in like the 90s, but
they've got lawyers already drafting papers.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is how it works.
But there's people waiting like, we're going to use him.
Honestly, if Mickey Mouse...
It's like Mickey Mouse turned 18 and the internet freaks out or something.
Yeah,
we can do what we want with him now.
Right.
If it becomes available, I'm just going to draw my own of this and just make T-shirts. And I'm just going to be like, hey, get them from me. I'll give you $1 cheap.
That'll be interesting. Like, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Disney
No, it won't. It was supposed to be
we're gonna have a Raw Dog shirt, just Mickey Mouse smoking weed with
on Steamboat
Willie with prostitutes everywhere. Say Raw Dogs.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude.
Male and female prostitutes.
We
love them
never
all here.
talk about Mickey Mouse, and it's just it's like he's our new mascot now, not Dizzy Dog.
Nope, Mickey's in. But yeah, around 1997, 99. Nintendo had a lot of emulators. SNES X9, 9X. That one was how I was using my Super Nintendo. Sega Genesis had emulators, so I was fucking around on all of these things, and then the Game Boy, which was less exciting but still cool. With the release of Ultra HLE, an emulator for the 1964 in 1999, this was the first emulator to be released for a current console that was like brand new, very hot still, and it was seen to have some effect on Nintendo 64 sales. Nintendo wasn't happy.
Well, I gotta say I don't know who was able to run any games at like any kind of playable speed when that emulator came out. Even for the first couple of years, you had to have like a fucking fantastic rig to emulate the N64 games.
Have it be playable.
Any kind of playable frame rate.
Yeah.
A lot of overhead. It wasn't great. And I mean, even I guess nowadays it's a lot better. I have dabbled, but it took a while to be able to get the N64 emulation up to a playable state.
There was a period, maybe a couple years, where I had my computer hooked up to my big screen TV, and we would play Rush 2 on an emulator. I had an original Xbox controller that I cut the end off and I spliced a USB cord to it. So I was able to use that
Nice.
with the computer.
MacGyver.
And then you can just like use your own inputs. So we were playing Rush 2, and one of the benefits of emulation, at this point they're becoming like, you had your save states and you could pause, rewind, do all these things, but you can actually make the games look better. They can run smoother. You can drop in texture packs. There are, it's amazing how much better games can look. Like, 'cause we were playing Rush 2 on a big screen, and it looked fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Ran flawlessly at that point.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So specifically, I can kind of go after Nintendo for this.
Nintendo's the worst.
Well, their whole entire gig is trying to make sure people can't get at their shit. I mean, even look at the Switch right now. They give you the itty bitty cartridges, which are fucking awesome. I fucking love them. But I don't.
Tastes great.
I've never tried.
I want to buy taste.
I want to buy like a $2 Switch cartridge and chew the shit out of it.
Really? I did it. I did it before last the series finale for Dogcast.
For those that don't know that are listening, Nintendo made sure the cartridges taste like shit so kids or dogs wouldn't eat them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's true. They do. And that taste lingers.
What is it? What would you describe it as?
Pretty much what I thought it was going to be. They put a bittering agent into the plastic compound, and it's a fucking. It doesn't taste good.
No, just really artificial and just powerful and strong. Is that really what you would describe it as?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I really don't want to eat this cartridge now. Good job, Nintendo.
And
I mean,
one of the problems with Nintendo is they try and cut the head off of something, and this is Hydra. This is the internet.
You can't
all right,
stop 'em.
they sued. They pursued legal action on the Ultra HLE. Initial creators like, all right, cease development. We're done. Source code was out, picked up by other developers. Fucking didn't stop anything there.
Can't put the genie back in the bottle, man.
And it's like the Barbra Streisand effect too.
It's always Barbra Streisand.
You
She's
know
the
what-
reason for emulation.
You know what I mean about the Barbra Streisand effect?
I don't think so. I mean, she has an effect on me.
Yeah, a negative one for me. Someone was photographing the entire West Coast by the ocean, just the entire ocean line, and she said, "You're not allowed to put a picture of my house up there." And she sued them to stop it, and she lost. And at that point, everyone's like, "All right, post all the pictures of Barbra Streisand's house you can now."
Okay. Yeah.
It's by trying to stop something, you draw attention to yourself, and
Sure.
yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy. 2000, Sony PlayStation and Nintendo almost made the Nintendo PlayStation. That never happened. And Nintendo didn't want to do disc-based because it'd be easy to pirate. Mm-hmm. And Sony found out the PlayStation 1 was easy to pirate.
Yeah.
In 1 year, in the year 2000, Sony had two very big lawsuits. So one of them was with the Connectix Corporation, who was releasing the Virtual Game Station. Steve Jobs loved this shit. Because Apple didn't have games. And so Steve Jobs found out about this Connectix. You can see like the Apple conference or whatever it is. He's on stage like, look at this. This is the best video game console ever. It's PlayStation 1. He's like, what if you could play it on the Mac? And people went crazy. But essentially, you buy the Virtual Game Station by Connectix, and you can play any PlayStation game on your Mac.
Sweet.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it was just a software suite, or how was that?
It was the first PlayStation emulator that enabled games to run at full speed, supported the vast majority of games, and you just put the discs right in the Mac.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Created initially for the Mac and previewed at Macworld by Steve Jobs, and he's like, look at all the games we have. It's like, you didn't do shit, you asshole. A lawsuit was filed and eventually closed in favor of Connectix. Like, you didn't break any copyright laws. They even won, that was for Bleem, but Sony, though, did purchase the VGS from Connectix and shut it down. They didn't win. Just like Disney. It's like, well, I'll just buy you.
Squash them.
I'll just buy you.
Yep.
Yeah, you're mine now.
Ridge Racer.
Ridge Racer.
No Ridge Racer for you.
Don't you fucking emulate Ridge Racer. We will sue you. Sony versus Bleem also happened in 2000.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a big deal.
What do you know about Bleem, Tom?
Well, there was Bleem and there was Bleem Cast, which was, well, Bleem was a Sony emulator.
Did we just find out should we just change our name to that? Bleemcast?
The Bleem Cast?
The Bleem Cast.
Should. Yeah.
It's not bad.
That's not bad. What are you going to do? Get us for emulation infringement? Fuck you.
Yeah, bitch.
I almost bought it back in the day, but at the time I'm like, it was for sale as the lawsuit was kind of going on, and at that time I think I realized you can just get, there's like 800 emulators for every system now, so I don't really need this, but heard it was good. But yeah, it's a PlayStation emulator.
What's super interesting is that it's an emulator designed to run on another console for the Dreamcast. Now, Yuji Naka was able to get a Nintendo emulator running on the Sega Genesis. Never released. This was just like a private thing that he did. That might have been the first time a console could emulate another one, but Bleem was a commercial PlayStation emulator for IBM-compatible PCs and the Dreamcast. It is known for being aggressively marketed. It was everywhere. There was ads for it in video game magazines.
Full page ads, just like in Game Informer. Basically, this is emulating.
It felt a little dirty. I'm like, this can't be right.
It did, and like I mentioned, like I think something in my mind realized that, or I'm like, this is not going to end well, but it did.
Yeah. Sony, despite losing its Connectix lawsuit, pursued legal action. Fool me once, shame on you. I'm just going to get fooled again.
Won't get fooled again.
Bleem was unable to defend itself, though, due to all of the court proceedings, and went out of business.
Yeah.
Even though Bleem ultimately won in court. And it even won the use of PlayStation screenshots on its packaging. Like, you can just put PlayStation shit all over your packaging. You won that, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay.
They initially, when they started the lawsuit, they wanted all of the products pulled off of shelves. And the first judge said, no, they can keep selling it. And then there was an injunction later on, and they had to pull them. And it's when Bleem, I remember seeing this, they lost their, like, Babbage's ability to be in Babbage's stores. And that was like a major problem because they couldn't afford the legal battles.
Sure.
Which is too bad.
It is. Come on. You know, the little guy. Let's hear it for the little guy. They always get the shaft.
I mean, it's just proof that none of this, all this shit, the legal system does not favor the poor.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, it's just
corporate.
And it's just like there's no like reparations
law,
or
for sure.
And like if you end up winning, like nobody gets paid back any of those like grueling hours and man time. I hate shit like this. I really do.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like big on emulation.
They have like Pet Court and all that shit. We need Video Game Court.
Pet Court?
On like a cable channel or something.
Oh, sure.
Pretty much, like Gaming Historian's probably the best as far as breaking down long court battles. He's got some good videos. They're very infrequent, though.
Yeah.
And I do watch like My Life in Gaming or Modern Vintage Gamer. There's a few YouTube channels that talk about emulation and what's like the best way to get HDMI from your Sega Genesis. And they're talking way above my pay grade. It's still interesting to watch, but Modern Vintage Gamer, I watch a lot of emulation videos, and there's a lot there.
Yeah, I bet.
There is an official use of emulation that has been adopted by the video game publishers, the companies, and so Nintendo's Virtual Console, all running emulators. Originally released for the Wii. It's continued to be used on other Nintendo consoles, allows for software emulation and purchasing of games from older systems. I think it was Gabe Newell who was saying something like, if people are like going around your systems to get your games, like your service model is outdated. It's not them that are wrong for trying to find them. You're not providing a way for them to get them.
Yeah.
And you're at fault. I think Nintendo's upset at all these ROM sites. Like, well, give us better ways to get access to your games. We will give. I think a lot of times people will give you money.
Yeah,
they always do. I mean, even the let's call it like even Super Mario 3D All Stars. Everyone who probably bought that probably owns a copy of each one of those games. They were willing to drop $60.
Yeah,
again.
And wasn't it when Nintendo released the ROM of Super Mario Brothers, it was actually like using the emulator that they shut down. Like it was like a ROM, like a hacked dumped ROM from like a third party that they just fucking put up?
Allegedly, Nintendo downloaded a ROM from a ROM site and sold it to you on their virtual console.
Yeah.
It's because there's an INS folder or like an INS header in the code, which signifies it was for
Yeah.
It was for
Whatever
some sort of
emulator.
emulator.
Yep.
And yes, it's the exact same one that is released on their virtual console. People have reached out to Nintendo like, no. Why? Why would we do such a thing?
Oh, Mario got his hand caught in a cookie jar.
Yeah.
What a fucker.
He's never been a pirate in any video games. I don't know, maybe.
You can get a pirate outfit in Odyssey.
You can, right?
Yeah.
Like a puffy shirt shit?
I kind of like a captain, like admiral style.
People were too overjoyed by his nipples on his shirtless thing, though.
Oh, yeah.
They forgot about the other costumes.
And his toes. People loved his toes.
Does he have 10 toes?
I believe so.
Okay.
Let me fact check.
Yeah. We need a producer.
Asking the tough questions here, but
How much? Okay, we're going to do a little game. Dylan looks up Mario's toes on WikiFeet.
is WikiFeet a real thing?
Yeah, where they rate like female celebrities' toes.
Oh, my God.
You knew that.
You did.
I did.
Let the record state.
Let the record state.
That's a Dylan experience if there ever was one.
In Dylan Experience v. Internet toe sites.
I think feet are gross. Write in. Let us know what you think.
HearTheDogcast@gmail.com.
I love all of God's creations.
But I think it's interesting. I mean, Nintendo should have some sort of like online site for computers as well. They only want their games available on their consoles, but if they wanted to make money and they just wanted to charge you like a couple bucks for Mario Brothers 1 online, people would pay for it.
Absolutely. People have been talking about that for like forever. Yeah, just put your shit out everywhere. You know, like the Game Pass for Nintendo.
Nintendo's got a strange approach to things. Like, remember the first time that they were getting into mobile games like Mario Run, like, we're not sure, but we're doing this. And it's like, meanwhile, Square's like, slap a sticker on that Final Fantasy game. You're getting a port.
Yep.
You're getting another one. And
into this toaster next fall.
as other consoles have moved forward, the Xbox 360, it is not natively backwards compatible with the original Xbox games, but it is possible through emulation. So your Xbox 360 is running an Xbox emulator when it is playing those original Xbox games on there. And this has gone on for every Xbox.
Yeah. Xbox One has an Xbox 360 wrapper that, you know, essentially it becomes an Xbox 360 when you boot up one of those games.
It is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, like with the Series X, they're also implementing ways that are graphically updating older games. They look better, like the frame rate's higher.
Yeah.
And that's bonkers. You can take an original Xbox game, play it on, like play Morrowind on a Series X, and it still looks like garbage, but it looks like better garbage.
Or they have like certain games utilize like an algorithm to add like HDR to even like OG Xbox games.
Very strange.
How do they do that? Is it just a simple upresing?
I don't know.
Because it seems to me like if you already based everything kind of on, especially the original Xbox, everything on a scrunched CRT television, how could you possibly expand that?
Yeah, I really don't know. Like because I don't think unless you actually have like the upres assets made specifically for a game, I don't know if you're able to necessarily like make the fidelity like that much better, but
Right.
I know you can increase at least the resolution enough where it is sharper, runs at a better frame rate, and then if you can add those HDR bells and whistles willy-nilly, if you have like the right algorithms that can determine like, okay, make this black like 10,000 shades darker black, you know?
I don't know. Anytime a company tries to set themselves against the internet, you're not going to do well.
No.
You're not going to stop them. I think people need to realize. So like
It's a war of attrition.
Companies need to realize like these people want to make your games playable, make them look better. Why not have a vessel for that to happen in a controlled way for you on your systems?
It's good PR.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if they made all these things more available, people would pay for them. You could create jobs where it's literally someone's job to go into old collections, make it playable, and then sell it to people. It doesn't even have to be like a fancy like game collection. It could literally just be the fucking game. You put it on the eShop, and then suddenly it's just you're guaranteed sales. It's going to justify a couple people's salaries. Like
every Nintendo 64 game outside of weird licensing issues should be available on the eShop for like $10.
Any Nintendo game, like
and
just made by Nintendo.
You can even put $15 in your 64 games if you want to. Nintendo, that's fine. They might put more, but
More like 40 probably. Knowing Nintendo.
What are NES games generally going for? Like $6.99, $5.99 on those?
Usually $5.99.
Yeah, I thought it was the $5 range.
It's
been a long time though.
I bought one of the early Dragon Quests for fucking $5.
Oh really? I think
it's not worth it, obviously, but
I think I bought Zelda 2 on the Wii. That was like maybe the only one I bought.
Yeah, I mean,
OG NES.
It felt cool on the Wii because you could turn it sideways.
Yeah, exactly.
Felt like an NES controller. That was novel at the time, so
Yeah,
I get why.
Plus, I just wanted to see what it looked like.
Sure.
Even though I was playing it on another
Standard def, yeah.
standard def or like another emulator on another PC. But
Sure.
Sony does this as well a little bit. The PS3 uses software emulation to play original PlayStation 1 titles.
Sure do.
I don't know if the PS2 was using that as well. It might be. Maybe the PS2's hardware was just able to.
PS2 had the
you could just read
PS1
it.
chip in it.
Yeah.
And like the PS3, the FAT had the PS2 chip in it. Mm-hmm. And then I think they switched over to software emulation at some point just to cut down on hardware costs. But
It kept the original PlayStation, the ability to play the original PlayStation games, but it completely disregarded PlayStation 2. I don't know why. Sony has never really come out and said why.
yeah,
Were they trying to curb the aftermarket?
I don't know. You could play PS2 games on PS3.
Only the big one.
The big one, yeah, the FAT. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah, I
think maybe they took out that chip and then you
They
couldn't play
did,
PS2
yeah.
anymore.
I mean, I got a. They call the original Slim, like the one that wasn't even that
yeah,
much.
okay, that makes sense.
So I didn't have that one. So I was kind of pissed off because there were a ton of JRPGs I wanted to play and I just couldn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, that was nice. Like that in the PS3, like would kind of upscale your PS2 games and take, like you said, take off some of the rough edges. I think there was a little bit of anti-aliasing going on there.
Get rid of those little jaggies.
Yeah, I think that's where I played like what the fuck did I play? Like Final Fantasy 12 or something on a PS3.
Ooh.
Maybe I can't remember. It was some PS2 game.
It did
Right when
make
it came
the
out.
original PlayStation games look pretty great too. I played
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid on it once, and I was like, "Whoa, this is actually working
Damn.
pretty good." Yeah,
Oh shit!
yeah.
Yeah, and it's nice now that they are taking their old consoles and releasing these mini versions, these classic versions. We talked about that a little bit.
Well, they stopped doing that like 3 years ago now.
But, I mean, yeah, I guess I don't see Nintendos or Super Nintendos out in stores anymore, but I still see the Genesis Mini and the PlayStation they couldn't get rid of.
Yes.
Did you pay $100?
I don't know. I think I paid $70 for the PlayStation 1.
Because you can get them now for like 15. I understand.
They're not 15, like down to 50 maybe.
Really?
But,
They were $10 at Best Buy.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know if they still are. They're even still being sold, but they got marked down. I remember they had a whole pile of them by the registers.
Oh, you didn't want to play a bunch of games that nobody either remembers or B cares
I
about?
almost thought about doing it, getting one when it was $10.
You might as well if it's $10.
But that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean,
burrito.
what's nice about the PlayStation 1 is you can just get these USB drives, allegedly, off of Amazon.
I mean, you're totally not pulling one out right now.
True Blue Mini, and I got whoever could get one of these. This is like an RPG pack that just comes with all the Suikoden games and the Final Fantasy games that weren't on there.
Yeah.
And there's 3 different packs that kind of have the entire PlayStation library, but they have USB drives right in the front, so you can just plop them right in, and it just reads it. You don't have to do any sort of backside modding or anything weird. And
Damn it.
It's nice with the SNES, NES, and Genesis as well because they have the DC import in the back. And one could also just hook a USB up to your computer, and it's not just for power. It's able to communicate.
One could.
One could do something with that. I'm not sure. if anyone wanted to, it was possible. But now
definitely haven't played a lot of games on that specific system.
Yeah, those are sleek, nice little devices, probably overpriced, but the nostalgia factor does work for me there. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons of emulation as well as video game preservation once we come back from break. We're going to hear from some of the other amazing shows on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Oh, my God.
Whoa, look at all of them.
They're so good.
They're breaking through the door.
They're so good.
So some other things about emulation. There's like various pros and cons. Through ROMs and emulators, you're able to preserve something forever. Whereas physical media, like there are aspects of cartridges, like they're going to degrade and you will lose them.
Nothing lasts forever, baby.
Nothing lasts forever,
Nothing lasts
baby.
forever.
And so there are games that people are demanding. We want an English translation of Mother 3.
For fuck's sake.
We want it. We'll pay you. We want it. Just do it.
I would
Actually,
pay,
I could care.
would
I don't
pay
care. I don't want it.
$60.
I don't care either.
don't want it.
But
Here's the problem. And here's the biggest problem.
Oh, God, here we go.
This is a game
Buckle
based
up,
off
pucker
of
up, kid.
timing. And a lot of this game, when you play it on an emulator, no matter how much you fuck with it, you're never going to get like the button presses right. Ever. You can kind of time it out. There's an input lag with most emulation to some degree. You can't get away from that.
that's why people will still spend thousands of dollars on what are those, like those analog NT Nintendo devices. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Real hardware, they're close at emulating it, but they're never going to be perfect. And
If it's a rhythm game too, like don't even bother. Like it's not the same thing, and it doesn't ruin the experience of this game. But there is a part of me, because I really wanted to fucking play this game, and last year during the pandemic, I certainly didn't download it and try it.
Yeah.
And
I certainly don't have a Game Boy Advance version that someone might have given me.
no, I didn't.
You didn't accidentally buy two of them.
I didn't get that from Amazon.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Amazon has no standards. Like, oh yeah, whatever.
No, it's side sellers. There's no way to. They can't police that shit, really.
But yes, one of the possibilities is fan translations of foreign games. I remember the first time trying a few different Final Fantasies. There was no option. I had to play them because there were not ports yet. There were not translations other than what you found online.
Right.
And as
Could have
gamers,
bought the anthology discs.
this was even before the PlayStation.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like playing Super Nintendo emulators and stuff.
Oh.
But you're able to play, and also games that were never released. Somehow there might be like a ROM that got uploaded, and it is preserving. Frank Cifaldi, friend of the podcast, and one of the coolest dudes in the industry right now.
pretty cool.
He's a cool dude. Runs the Video Game History Foundation, and we, I think a few of us watched a few of his videos earlier today, but he talks about the original DuckTales. Never been re-released, the original version. There's the remastered one you can get everywhere, but if you want to play
You can't anymore, actually.
you can't even get the remastered?
Nope.
Isn't it part of like
The
the
rights thing.
Isn't even a part of like the Disney
You can't download
package?
it off
No.
of Steam. Nope. It was its own thing, and the licensing ran out for certain aspects of it, and so you can't even find that shit anymore.
So
Which is why I never. Well, I mean, it's on my dead computer now, but it's on my Steam library, so I get to keep that.
If you want to play the original version of DuckTales, though, you have to play it on Nintendo. If you want to do it legally, you have to go buy a console, find a TV that works, find a copy of the game. Hopefully, it all works,
Hopefully,
and then you can play DuckTales. And
hopefully, it doesn't smell like the cartridge doesn't smell like a room full of cigarette smoke.
the yellow Nintendo cartridges.
Just filled with cockroaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, able to preserve games, and I think that's very important as well.
Yeah. And then that's the main thing. Just, preservation of everything. God damn it.
Yeah, and there's fans that are doing bug fixes on these games, making them more playable. I saw some ROM hacks earlier. A ROM hack, you take a version of a game, you can change aspects of it. You can go in there, change who you're playing as. You can do anything. I saw some ROM hacks of Super Metroid and Mario World, where there are widescreen hacks, which someone had to go in and do a lot of fixing because that game isn't designed to have a full screen.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
And
And
scrolling must have been hard to reprogram.
but yeah, you watch it and it's just gorgeous because those are some big long maps, and seeing them able to scroll widescreen looks great. And a game like Super Metroid about exploring looks great.
Oh yeah,
I bet that
there
does
as well.
Look pretty good. Yeah.
Enhanced technical features, anti-aliasing. You can upscale the frame buffer resolution to match different HD displays, as well as anisotropic filtering. I don't know what that means, but apparently it's texture sharpening.
Oh okay.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Something like that.
Yep.
Improved audio capabilities, save states, online multiplayer functionality for some games, which is kind of cool.
Dude, I'm all about save states. I think that is like one of the best features of emulation because now
Those NES games are hard.
playing those NES games, like if I play them on the original like hardware or something, just not having save states, forget it.
Oversight. That'd be bad. And they include them now, too, like Nintendo's NES and Super Nintendo on their
Yeah.
Switch have save states.
Yep, the TurboGrafx. I think most of them do. The PlayStation, the mini PlayStation have them.
I don't know if it does or not. I haven't really actually played much on the PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would assume it did.
Yeah, it's at least functioning memory cards, if nothing else. But save states are fucking slick.
Yes.
Bypassing regional lockouts, cheating.
I like rewind features.
Rewind is
Also
fucking
great.
bonkers.
I love it.
Another shout out to Frank Cifaldi. Only reason I beat the Mega Man Legacy Collection and beat all those Mega Man games.
Right, yep.
Thank you for Rewind. You have no idea how much you helped me. Yeah, and he was talking about that as well. The Mega Man Legacy Collection was originally only digitally released. They approached it as a Criterion collection of sorts for Mega Man games. They wanted to include as much of the background art, obscure like paper like descriptions of enemies and stuff. Everything they could was included there, and it's a lavish, beautiful collection. They release it, and there was such a demand for physical copies, they actually had to make physical versions too, because people will buy these things. If
They're done well, yeah.
and like, why didn't you put Mario Galaxy 2 on that collection as well?
Yeah.
They didn't need to, and they'll make more money releasing it later.
No,
But
it's such a fucking oversight, though. It's like if you were really going to make like a comprehensive, like, this is everything before Odyssey, it would have had Mario Galaxy 2 on it. Mm-hmm. They could have charged another $20 for the damn collection. I don't get it. Whatever, Nintendo. Fuck off.
Yeah. They do their own thing. Different drum. But I digress. Whatever.
You got to know that there's someone there who's very intelligent and kind of gets what's going on and does this on purpose. And I imagine
Every day I'm hoping.
I imagine that they just go home and kick a room full of puppies for fun. Because it's so anti-consumer,
Yeah.
in an egregious way. And I understand that salesmanship. A lot of it is telling people what they're supposed to want. Like, I get that aspect of it.
yeah,
But sometimes it's just a little fucking
Sometimes you're
egregious.
just wrong.
Nintendo's getting better at some things. I remember I was advised, if you see the like Skyward Sword Joy-Con, just buy them. They're gonna run out, and
I bought them.
I've seen them at so many stores just sitting there, though.
I know.
And Nintendo's at least
They're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. I'm not saying they're not great, but the only reason I was gonna buy them is because I might not have another chance to, like the Nintendo Classic or the Super Nintendo.
I thought about getting 2 pairs, but
So you could put like 2 left-hand ones on the same Switch.
keep one sealed.
Yeah.
Just wait for that drift.
You've been hanging out with Tom a lot.
Well, I mean, I have.
See, I'm rubbing off.
Well, I'm the Ninfrendo of the podcast.
Don't
because
rub
I
off
have-
in this room, Tom.
Ooh la la.
Rubbing. Oh, God.
Put that thing away.
Joy-Cons.
Got a sweet ass.
Put that Hydro away. No, your guys got 3 pairs of Joy-Cons.
What?
I got 3 pairs of Joy-Cons.
I got 3 pairs of Joy-Cons.
Yeah, baby, I'm upset.
Humble brag.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, talking about Nintendo going to the beat of their own drum. 2018, Nintendo filed lawsuits against Love ROMs and Love Retro for like millions of dollars. Like, fuck you, we want all the money you've ever had, like $100,000 per Nintendo ROM, because we are dying here without that money. We are not making any money, and we're sad. We wanted your money.
They made life very difficult. That whole sequence of events for those of us who do like to, dabble in ROMs.
I have like 7 beers. I'm going to download a ROM. Oh, first time.
And
then I am playing Addams Family on the Nintendo, and I am happy. And the next morning, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do last night?
There are like Nintendo cops knocking at the door.
We would like to arrest you.
Yep.
I'm doing the gesture from the
Reggie's
commercial.
looking through my windows.
It's so funny. Like all the a lot of the sites just straight up, not just these sites that Nintendo sued. All the big ROM sites just kind of like shut down, or for at least a little bit. And it's just funny, like all the hoops you got to go through now to get the sites to work. You have to do some like manual scripting in your
Wayback Machines,
your browser to access links and whatnot. But it can be done.
Yeah, Emu Paradise.
That
was a site that was around for like 20 years almost. They voluntarily shut down. Found a message the creator left on Reddit. Started it 18 years ago. I never got to play many of these amazing retro games while growing up in India, and I just wanted other people to be able to experience them as well.
Yep.
Through the years, I've worked tirelessly with the rest of the team to ensure that everyone could get their fix of retro gaming. We've received thousands of emails from people telling us how happy they've been to rediscover and even share their childhood with their next generations of their families. Had emails from soldiers at war saying that the only way they got through their days was to get lost in retro games. And so we're done. We don't want to get sued. Bye. Shit's weak.
There's a workaround. It's still up. Just gotta know what to do.
Incognito mode.
Yep.
My mom will never know.
No. Yeah. Just go on the sites. There's a script you download.
But Nintendo wasn't done there.
No. No.
This episode is going to be releasing, I think it's like September 9th or 10th. So September 10th, 2019, Nintendo sues ROM Universe. They sue specifically Matthew Storman. They won the lawsuit, and it was for $2.1 million. Nintendo had requested $15 million, but the judge is like, the kid didn't even upload any ROMs himself. He just kind of maintained the site, so we're not going to do 15, but it's supposed to be $2.1 million lawsuit. He hasn't even been able to pay Nintendo $50 a month because the only way he was making money was through the website.
Oh, irony.
At what point, though? At what point do you have to be like this whole like tear it all down, like salt the earth kind of
Burn it all.
It's just like you don't think some of the plants are just gonna pop right through that salt, man. They're still gonna grow.
Download the ROMs before we shut them down. We might want to sell them later on the shop.
Well, it's just like you cannot stop data. You can't stop the growth of this stuff. I think the sooner that these people figure this shit out, the better they're going to be in the long run. Mm-hmm. Like if you can't stop it, give people the option. Like it's like what Gabe was saying. It's like just at least, even if it's a shitty option, at least have the option available. Someone's going to pay for it.
Fuck, I forget.
Yeah.
I forget what game it was. I think it was Capcom. Someone was working on like an updated version of a game. They sent a message, stop what you're doing. We're going to fly you out though and show you what we're doing we're working on a new version of the game. So they were like, they brought in the fan community to work with them. It's like the way Sonic Mania, they found creators that were making Sonic games and they brought them over. Like, we want you to work on Sonic Mania because you get it clearly.
Right.
Work with the communities because there are passionate people that want to play by the rules, but when you set up a system that doesn't allow them.
Oh, yeah.
What was that, like Metroid ASMR 2 or whatever? Loving fan project.
Yeah. I would play Metroid ASMR. And then.
Honestly, that soundtrack.
Trigger warning. Yes.
Oh no, it's that sound.
I fucking hate that sound. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Apologies.
And as a video game podcast, we're podcasters. Sometimes
Are you pirating this podcast? Are we emulating this podcast?
You wouldn't download a podcast, would you?
I'm sorry, sir.
But we cover topics. Sometimes we'll be talking about like an obscure game or a series of games, and we might not have access to all of them. And if we want to discuss Lord of the Rings on the Super Nintendo for any reason, that's not easy to find all of these things. And this, it's preserving media, and it's giving us an opportunity to enjoy these old products. Just make it available, make it easy to access, because we want to play by the rules. If it is available on, like, we were talking about Paper Mario, the RPG series, and Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door, I think it was, is available on the Wii U shop, not on the Switch, not at the time.
Nope.
So I hooked up my Wii U, and I paid like $10 for it. I'm like, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
Yeah, because at least then you know it runs.
Yeah.
And you don't have to fiddle with it. You don't have to fuck with shit. And it's going to have some sort of upscaling for you. You don't have to mess with the settings.
Plug and play, baby.
Yep.
That's what it's about.
Set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
And
Ronco.
Notoriously, Dolphin still has a lot of kinks to work out. It's not a perfect. It's not a perfectly running.
I'm still amazed.
Yeah.
Like, my Mac will run GameCube though, and with modern controllers too. You can just take like your at least my PS4 and Xbox One controllers. I haven't tried with the X or the PS5. They can just Bluetooth right to your Mac, so you can just like be playing these games. There's a fantastic app that I've seen but never tried called Open Emu, and it almost looks like a Spotify for emulation, where it's got all the consoles, just drag and drop, and it finds the art for you. Super slick.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And
I was going to do an emu impression because Tom did a dolphin.
Sorry.
But I don't know what an emu
it's
sounds
like.
should be Open Emu. How would you say emu or like?
Is it EMU?
Yeah.
I do
It's
emu.
emu.
Yeah.
Emu.
Yeah.
Emulation. Emu.
You can
Open
be whatever
Emu.
you want it to be.
It's fun.
I mean, they've got their own built-in mascot if they treat it like
Well,
that.
and it's like an app that you can use different emulators, and it just makes it like super streamlined.
Yeah. So I do a lot of game playing on my Retro Pi. You take a Raspberry Pi and you download this program to it just to make it basically a emulation. It's called Emulation Station, but it's called the Retro Pi. But yeah, it's just a collection of emulators, a nice front end. You just load your ROMs up, tons of configurability, and it's cheap as shit. The only bad downside right now is Raspberry Pis, like new versions get released every few years, and they're still not able to do some of the newer systems. Like Saturn is still very, very slow. Yeah, and frame rate's very slow, and Dreamcast is kind of like a pie in the sky wish right now. But it's a cheap option, and it's a very convenient option if you want to go basically like PlayStation and earlier, and including arcade, and it runs MAME fantastic. And we did an episode where of the Dogcast, a video episode where we actually built one real time.
Whoa! Back in the day.
It's still available. Check it out.
Also, check out the one.
I had to check it out because I had to build another one.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I forgot what I did, so I watched me build one on live on the air.
It's strange. If I want to go back and find out about Bloodborne lore again, I would actually listen to our podcast because I know we did a really good job.
Right.
Yeah, Rom the vacuous spider.
Yeah. When's Nintendo going after that?
Right.
Damn it. Yeah. Then there's also what's nice about emulators is new plugins are being developed that increase functionality, and they can just be like plugged into many emulators too. You don't need to just get a brand new vehicle. You can just like change out some parts on the inside. You mentioned MAME, and we haven't talked about that too much.
No, why not? Because it's huge.
Yeah. Would you speak on that a little bit, Tom? You're the most of the MAME side, I think, of this podcast right now.
You're the MAME mammy.
MAME. Well, I guess like mentioned before, MAME was what got me started on this whole journey. But
now you do harder stuff.
Yes. So MAME is basically it's an emulator. It's a collection, kind of a collection of different emulators, because all these arcade boards that you would buy, many of them, you have are different they're like their own self-contained system almost. You know, every board, like a Street Fighter board is different than
Mortal Kombat board.
A Mortal Kombat board or an Asteroids board and whatnot. So MAME, the concept of MAME was to bring all the ability to emulate all these different arcade ROMs in one program. And, you know, for preservation, wink, wink. I mean, that was definitely a part of it. But so I really gravitated towards the arcade thing because when I started that, I mean, when I started playing, this was kind of at the tail end of arcades really being a thing. You know, I think once PlayStation, Saturn, and came along, you were pretty much able to play arcade ports at home. But you know, you couldn't get like an arcade perfect port of like Knights of the Round or any of these games. So it was a way to, holy shit, I can actually play these and have these readily available. So the convenience of that was just such a huge quote unquote selling point, even though it didn't cost any money.
What's the best arcade ROM you've played?
Oh, the best arcade ROM? Mm-hmm.
Ninja Baseball Batman. I played that on a MAME at an arcade just because of the stupid name. And it was one of the most amazing games. Me and my brother played it all the way through it in co-op fighting. You play as various baseball characters.
I've heard of it, yeah.
And it's not Batman like Batman. It's just like
Batman.
You're a Batman.
Sure.
Dude, it is at some point you're like fighting mini airplanes on an airplane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I was going to say, like, I can't not, I don't have one that comes to mind, but there is just to be able to play like all these games that you had no access to in the US. It's like some batshit fucking Japanese.
And that's super preservation because cabinets are huge.
Yeah.
And to be able to give people the access to play so many different games, I love it when a brewery or you might see them in a couple breweries, not in restaurants, and arcades might have them, but like a MAME cabinet where you can just go through 1,000 games and play what you want. I will not ever be anything other than excited when I see those.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I built 2005. I built my own MAME cabinet. Like, cut all the wood, bought all these components to get like the best setup possible. You know, had like the 4 joysticks kind of set up with the trackball and the spinner, and they made Wells Gardner made a special monitor that hooked up to my PC. That it was a CRT, but it was a computer monitor as well as like a straight up fucking CRT, and it would play every game in its native resolution. And Josh has it now. He bought it off me.
I was going to say, where is this machine?
I don't think he ever put it together. Josh apparently has it unless he sold it. I'm gonna have to get it back because nobody makes that monitor anymore, and it was pretty great.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. You could set that up in your fucking house. That's cool.
Yeah. But that was a fun project back in the day.
Like you literally hid this from me and Brad. You have to understand.
What's that? The cabinet?
Yeah, that you have something so cool.
Well, it's at Josh's now. So
yeah, he bought it from me.
Skunked
His
out.
girlfriend was really, really angry that it hadn't been put together. This was a couple of years ago, but
I mean, I'd be angry too. Like, what's he
sitting
waiting
around?
for?
Because it's pretty fucking big. That's why I didn't bring it with me.
Oh, whatever. You've got
Pretty
an extra
nice.
room.
Very, very cool. Let's hear from some of our Discord members. They wrote a few things in here.
Fuck you guys.
If you want to read the Ryan comments, Tom?
Sure. He says, this is Ryan. He says, that's how I played most, if not all, SNES games. Only had an NES growing up until I got a PlayStation. All of those classic SNES games like Chrono Trigger, Link to the Past, Mega Man X, Final Fantasy VI, and Super Mario World were played on my Windows 95 PC. You are going to jail, sir.
You go to jail, sir.
Okay. He follows up with, wife got me a PS Classic a few years back. The initial offerings were pretty rough, but after modding it with BleemSync I have every PS1 game I ever played and could ever want to play. I'm not that advanced when it comes to tech and modding, but according to everyone on the message boards, the PS Classic was pretty easy to mod compared to other systems. I believe that's true. Almost like Sony knew the 20 games they included were pretty meh and made it easy to hack. I think so.
Yeah. My only major issue with the PlayStation Classic is they give you a controller without analog sticks.
Yeah, that's
right.
blows.
Yeah, no DualShock,
which is very dumb.
Yeah.
It's an awful choice.
I don't want to play many platformers or just a lot of games in general with only the D-pad.
Well, platforming, 3D platforming, no, but regular platforming, I'm always D-pad.
Yeah.
If it's it depends on what you're playing. Like Crash Bandicoot, I want an analog stick.
Yeah, me too.
And I think the hackability was built in. Doesn't the PS1 Classic like actually have like a text file when you like enter it or log into it that says like, hey, happy hacking, here's where you need to put all your ROM files or something like that, or please be gentle.
It's not so direct probably, but yeah, that thing, the fact that I can just plug a USB drive in and it just automatically lets me play 80 more games is pretty silly.
Yeah.
Yep. And it
thrill kill, baby. Thrill kill.
The crackhead pack was like $20. Not bad.
Not bad.
Yep.
Not bad at all. No.
Would you like to read from Killer Kip?
Absolutely.
Killer Kip.
My sister and I found out about the SNES 9X back when we were pretty young, and still had the family computer running Mac OS 9. We were Sega kids and had recently become huge RPG fans thanks to Final Fantasy VII and Wild Arms. Getting to play through Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, and even goofy stuff like the Ranma 1/2 RPG was such a blast. I've never even heard of the Ranma 1/2 RPG.
TK, if you're listening, I believe you played the Ranma games.
Okay. To this day, the first thing I always do when I get a new piece of tech is see if I can put RetroArch on it, because sometimes I just want to play Kid Dracula on my refrigerator. Yeah. It's a very good game. I love Kid Dracula.
Kip, if you have played Kid Dracula on your refrigerator, can you send us a video on the Discord?
Yes, please.
We want to see it.
RetroArch is actually like the backbone of the Raspberry Pi emulation thing. It's very nice.
I have a couple of arcade cabinets and own a few actual PCBs for them. But for the most part, they're MAME cabinets because I am not made for money and I honestly can't tell the difference and just have as much fun with the emulated versions.
And I think that's an important point too. If you are a professional connoisseur, a speedrunner of Mario, you played 1,000 times a year, or if you're someone who just, what's going on in the back end, you might be able to tell the difference. As far as me, when I play emulated Mario Brothers 3 versus the original cartridge, I can't tell a difference generally.
Right.
Most emulation for me, not so much stuff on the computer, but the ones that are like official releases, I can't tell the difference. And I think that is the way it is for many people.
Yeah, I was going to say, except if you're Billy Mitchell, somebody noticed that.
You got busted, Billy.
Dude. Donkey Kong, man, the shit's loading the wrong side of the screen.
Great hot sauce, though.
I did notice it.
Fantastic hot sauce.
I did notice it on the Mario 64 from the 3D All-Stars. Mm-hmm. I noticed the emulation, and there's something off about that game. Like it's missing a tightness that I do remember. I am not misremembering this. I know it for a fact. Yeah. So it's just like okay, sometimes you can see it.
Yeah, and there are some games that just are not getting re-releases. GoldenEye, the original GoldenEye for the 64.
Yeah.
If you want to play that, you need to go find a 64 emulated.
Would you even want to, though?
Not me, but some people definitely would.
Would you want to play it with the C buttons?
For about 5 minutes, and then it'll be like,
maybe... Not me, but someone
would.
Let's
play some Halo.
The fact that we could still play Rush 2 for hours straight and just see... It wasn't even the racing. We only went to the stunt track and saw who could get the most flips and points.
These fucking Rush games are great. I never played 2, but I love the first one.
Yeah.
On 64.
You don't need much to have a lot of fun. And we got to preserve these things.
I prefer Cruisin' Exotica.
That was Dylan's opinion?
Always the contrary. Come on, man.
Only because of the theme song.
It's going to be a shirt that's got Mickey Mouse. Exotica. Mickey Mouse smoking a blunt with a bunch of prostitutes on the steamboat. And it's going to say, I prefer Cruisin' Exotica.
Dude, actually, I will wear that. That's fucking hot.
That's a really cool shirt.
I'm gonna wear that.
Yeah.
And a quick one here from Judge Tempest. Just being able to beat Ghosts and Goblins and Battletoads on the Nintendo, as well as other hard games with save states, was pretty damn satisfying.
Yeah.
100%.
Because otherwise, it was impossible.
Yeah.
And you have to beat it twice to get the true ending anyway, so
Assholes.
it's so fucking dumb.
It is bullshit.
It is bullshit. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about with emulation?
Not really,
No,
no.
I just fucking emulate whatever you want.
I
Download whatever you want.
Love is
Play
free,
it.
baby.
This is experience these games.
This has been a dramatic reading of The History of Emulation by Billy Zane,
Charles Dickens.
Stephen Dorff, and who are you?
Jamie Dornan. I'm just a very handsome actor that I saw in a movie recently.
I will say the Nintendo DS emulator is pretty cool because you need a touchscreen and you can actually just use the mouse as the you're
I like
touching
that.
it.
That's cool.
That might be a better way of playing The World Ends With You, to be honest.
Yeah, because I played some of that Final Fantasy 4 remake, three or 4 remake.
4 and 3 were remade.
Yeah,
With that 3D style.
Yeah, but it's interesting that they were able to include the functionality. Even like the Zapper gun, NESticle eventually got an update that lets you use a Zapper gun, like use the mouse as the gun, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
So we got another like 10 minutes. We can just hang out and talk about whatever. I beat Dragon Ball Z Kakarot today, and I'm excited to not play it anymore.
I don't know why you even started. This is going to be a huge point of contention going forward for us, I believe, because I don't understand it. Have you been playing anything, Tom? I know you haven't.
I started dabbling in a game called 12 Minutes that came out on Game Pass.
I have it downloaded.
And it looked... I mean, I'd been waiting for this game. I hadn't been playing much outside of that, outside of just maybe like dabbling into replaying Red Dead a little bit. But yeah, 12 Minutes, still trying to get my bearings with it. It's kind of like an adventure game with a time loop. And it seems pretty interesting.
Sure.
Maybe a tad bit obtuse.
I'm waiting to play it with Dom because he's really interested in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, it's like Groundhog Day, the game, and every 12 minutes, a cop comes in and kills you, arrests your wife and kills you. You got to figure out how to escape.
Kind of like Memento.
Yeah.
Yeah, more Groundhog's Day, but
Yeah, and when you start the game, there's definitely an homage to the Shining because the carpet that leads up to your apartment is what your curtains.
pattern.
okay.
pattern.
So yeah, I've seen Kojima's been posting some pictures of that on Instagram.
Oh really? Yeah.
He's in love with the game. He likes it. So
Yeah.
He likes it.
I like shit off the beaten path like that. So, and Psychonauts 2 comes out tomorrow, and I'm probably going to check that out. It's been getting good reviews. So,
is Psychonauts 2 going to be on Game Pass? Mm-hmm. Oh, no fucking way. That's awesome.
yeah, comes out tomorrow.
Hell yeah, dude. Oh, man.
I still got to play the first one.
It's a little hard to go back to, but it's still very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might want to just watch maybe a recap video, I would say, of it. But
Honestly,
it's really cool.
yeah.
Did download the Xbox version of the Flight Simulator.
I was underwhelmed on that. I don't know. It's so clearly a PC game, and getting the functionality out of a controller is not
Lucky you motherfuckers. I have an Xbox One. I can't even play it.
Yeah.
And I guess if you hook up a keyboard and a mouse, it's supposed to be a lot better than the Xbox. I played it a little bit. I didn't have a great experience, though. Did you like it?
I mean, I like to listen to podcasts and just fly, like chart a course. I flew to from New York to London.
How long is that?
So I sped it up a little bit.
So there's a speed up option?
Yeah. You can advance yourself.
Okay. So I'm like, Tom, did you just sit there for 8 hours and just
Yeah, I did drive. I did drive. I did fly from Milwaukee to EWR or New Jersey real time.
Oh, wow.
Was that like 3 hours, 4 hours?
About 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah. So I'm just put on a Sopranos podcast, and basically by the time it was done, I'm like,
because that whole middle 3/4, so you're not really doing anything, right?
yeah. I mean, it's just like flyover country pretty much, but I mean, it's still,
It's gorgeous looking.
it's nice. Sometimes I'll just try to go just try to fucking crop dust like a semi that's driving on the road and just try to ghost it.
Well, they have to also add more simulation aspects, like the pilot can go take a dump and leave it on autopilot, and you actually go into the plane.
Right. You
have to eat food.
Yeah. Then it seems like they're releasing like more modes to like make it more video gamey, because now I think there's they just released like a race kind of mode, so you can play.
That's fun.
People. But yeah, it's mainly made for people that just want to.
Tell me when they have dogfighting, bro.
Yeah, and I think they made a HOTAS for the Xbox 2 that you can use. So.
Can you be a TIE fighter, or is it just planes?
That's right. You can be a warthog.
Whoa! Do you imagine a flight across the Atlantic in a TIE fighter? Just the whole time,
right?
Just a cat dying, like.
Make it stop.
That's a game I'd really like to play with VR, with a headset.
Yeah.
I hear some people do, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that, and I would like a joystick.
I would love a joystick.
Be great. Yeah. I was looking at PlayStation 5 joysticks the other day at GameStop, and they're not that expensive. And I can guarantee you playing that Star Wars Rebel Squadron game in VR with a joystick, I'm like, oh my God, it'd be so good.
That'd be
gives me a joystick.
That would be a fucking amazing.
I would be like, okay, I'm coming over the day you get that thing because I want to try it. Mm-hmm. That game rules. I still am so impressed.
It's not bad.
Best thing EA's done in a while.
Definitely. Even the storyline is good, which, God bless it. Battlefront 2 sucked balls.
I don't think you're alone in that sentiment. That's for sure.
And Fallen Order's getting a sequel.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
I didn't finish the first one.
I was
impressed with the story of the first one, but I don't know. I was playing something else at the time and just kind of got sidetracked.
The traversal and kind of Metroidvania aspects of that game are just so charming. Like, you don't expect any of it, and then the combat's good too. Like, it all works.
Yeah,
it's hard to fault this game.
We've been the Raw Dogs. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before I hype us up, I do want to hype the Video Game History Foundation. If you have a chance to donate to them, they're a nonprofit. They work very hard, and they're preserving our history, and not only video games, but the ephemera, the magazines, the promo materials, everything around games as well.
Fuck yeah.
They're awesome. Frank's awesome. If you have a chance to donate to them, you definitely should. But after that, if you had extra money you wanted to support the Raw Dogs, Dylan, how could they do that?
They can find us on patreon.com/Hair of the Dogcast. And even $3, you can get access to a lot of content, including Doggies After Dark, second episodes of a lot of Raw Dogs themselves, some videos as well. Any little bit helps. The more you can, the better. Just give what you can if you're appreciating it.
Plus, you can join our Discord, which is a wonderful group of people.
Honestly, it's a baked-in group of friends. We're very welcoming. There's not a bad apple in the bunch. Seriously.
Yeah.
No.
I love them.
And that could be you. You could actually join and be the bad apple.
You could ruin the Discord.
As long as you're paying for it, we don't care. It's
for the low cost of $3.
We just literally ignore you.
Right. Yeah.
And yes, if you wanted to reach out, if you think we might have gotten anything wrong, or if you want to make any comments on your own emulator fictional stories that aren't true, feel free to send them our way. You can email us at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com.
We'll mostly send it to Brad.
But you can find us on Twitter at HotDogcast, and we are on Instagram at hairofthedogcast. Please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And, take care of yourself. Preserve your video games. Do it legally. We don't support piracy.
Don't emulate us.
No.
So please.
Identity theft is a crime.
I don't recommend anyone emulate me.
No.
Second it.
One Dylan is enough Dylan.
Yeah. And if you're going to run with leg anyway, you don't even try. You can't keep up. Look at you.
Yeah.
Oof, fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You don't want a laggy Dylan. You want high performance ray tracing Dylan.
I want the original hardware.
Yeah.
You want one-to-one.
What if it's software, though?
Brought to you by Blue Chew.
Some days.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.